Hi there, and welcome back to another edition of Nothing Exceptional. This episode is an interview with Jpax Cosplay out of Denver, Colorado. Now, I may be dating myself with this question, but I remember the first time I came into contact with cosplay. It was at a Star Trek convention in the 90s, and I went there just to meet James Doohan, the guy that played Scotty. And there were all these people there dressed like Klingons and Vulcans and crew members, and it was kind of a mind-blowing experience for me. What was your first experience with cosplay?
The first time that I saw cosplay, I didn't know cosplay was a thing. I love Halloween because I love to play dress up. But the first time that I actually saw a cosplayer was on Facebook. I was scrolling through and I saw this article about a trans veteran activist named Carla Lewis, and I clicked on her story, and there was a picture of her dressed as Power Girl, and I remember just thinking, oh my gosh, she looks so beautiful. Who is this superhero? So I looked up Power Girl, and I remember comparing Carla's version to the comic book version. I was like, oh, that is so cool. I didn't even know cosplay was a thing, and so I did a little bit of digging and kind of started seeing the different layers of this subculture. But really, it wasn't until attending my first convention that I saw kind of the extent of this nerddom. I remember walking up to the line to get into the convention, and I just had this like overwhelming feeling like, this is my tribe. Like, these are the nerds that I've been looking for. And it was just like the coolest feeling in the world. I think that it wasn't until I got really plugged into a group of local cosplayers through Sword Cosplay that I actually felt like I found this, I don't know, that I found like my people, and to find a place to belong, a community. I think that that's really what we're all looking for, is a place to belong. And I think that up to that point, I hadn't really felt like I'd found that community. So I'm super grateful to Sword and to the cosplayers that I met through that organization, because really I feel like it's one of the most inclusive communities I've ever been a part of. Just to see the different kinds of people. Again, I was inspired originally by a trans woman who was just showing off her craft, and I just thought that that was the neatest thing. So I hope that if it's something that you as a viewer are thinking, hey, like, I wonder if cosplay is for me, I would encourage you to give it a try. Find a character that you love, and start working your way in it. I think that we are all trying to become better artists and better cosplayers, and really the worst thing that you could possibly do is compare yourself to someone else, because you are where you are at in your art. And I think that we're all getting a little bit better every time. So if you're comparing yourself to these crazy amazing cosplayers that have sponsors and all this time and hundreds and thousands of Facebook or Instagram followers, like, man, like, it's really easy to get down on oneself when you think about it in those terms. But if you think about it as, man, I love this character and I want to be this character and become them for this event, then, man, I would encourage you to do it, and to do it for you. Don't do it for anybody else, but do it for you.
Why do you do it?
I cosplay because I never grew out of playing dress up. I've heard a lot of people tease and joke about cosplayers not having lives, and I think that it's not that we don't have a life. I think that we, and any artist really lives many lives. There's something incredibly beautiful and powerful about becoming all these characters and bringing them to life. And if you're a lover of fiction in any form, be it movies or comic books or books or video games, we find these amazing representations of humanity, and to bring them out from a 2D world into reality, I think that it's a really healthy and fun outlet.
what was your first cosplay? What have you learned since you did your first cosplay?
My first cosplay was Carl Grimes from the Walking Dead comic book. To play that character, I used a Science Dog t-shirt, a Rick Grimes hat, and just like this button-up shirt. And I think that since then I've done a lot of different characters that required a lot of props, either making them from scratch or using purchased props and then weathering them or adjusting them somehow. So if I could go back and redo that character, I think that I would add a lot more touches so that the whole look didn't look as polished. I think that it almost looked like I had taken Carl out of a box and just put him on. It was very crisp and clean for somebody who was supposed to be surviving the zombie apocalypse. And since then I've learned that it's all in the details.
Which cosplay are you the most proud of?
Really, I hope that with every new cosplay that I do, there's something or an element that I'm challenging myself with and that I'm really proud of. But if I think back to this past year, 2018, one of my favorite things that I did was Lion Cat from the comic book Saga by Fiona Staples and Brian K. Vaughan. And Lion Cat is a character from a more, I don't want to say it's obscure, I just think that this comic book is going to be big and it just hasn't yet. And I hadn't seen that many people cosplay Lion Cat. In my research, I think I found maybe 4 cosplays of Lion Cat. And so bringing not just a more obscure character to life, but also an anthropomorphized version of a character. I hadn't done that at that point. I think that I had only ever cosplayed characters that were humanoid, particularly women characters. And so becoming a feline, I think, was like the coolest thing. I learned a lot about makeup. It was my first foray into special effect contact lenses. I had to wear fangs. I painted my face. It was such a fun character to do. And it was also the first time that I competed in a very large cosplay contest. I actually competed in the Denver Comic Con 2008 cosplay contest, 2018 cosplay contest. And I didn't win, I didn't even place, but I learned a lot about just the caliber of cosplayers competing, just the craftsmanship, and there was a lot of lessons to be learned from that experience. But I'm so glad that I did it. I absolutely love this character. I think maybe like, I don't know, 15 people recognized me during the con. And it was so neat because the people that did recognize me and recognize the character were like, oh my gosh, you're Lion Cat, and I've never seen anybody cosplay him before or her before. So I think that was so fun to do a character that's really beloved by that particular fandom, but that hasn't really been done a lot. And if you actually look up on Instagram images of Lion Cat cosplay, most of the images that you're going to see come up are actually from that convention. So it's something that I'm really proud of.
Describe your feelings when you're at events and all these people want to have their picture taken with you.
When I'm at an event and someone asks for a picture, my first response is to feel really honored and humbled. I put a lot of work into my characters, and if someone recognizes me as a character and wants a picture, I'm really honored by it. A lot of the work that I do is through Sword Cosplay, and Sword is a volunteer organization based out of Colorado Springs. We do a lot of children's events and a lot of charity fundraisers to raise money for various charities. Last year we worked raising money for Bags for Kids. It's a charity that makes care bags for foster children in transition. And so, as I mentioned, a lot of the events that we do are very family friendly, and to have a kid get excited when they see you in character is really just an honor. I remember we did an event this summer where we did Sword did the halftime show at a Colorado Switchbacks football or soccer game in Colorado Springs, and it was my first time being Wonder Woman. And this little girl came up to me and just like completely wide-eyed goes, "I have your doll." And it was so humbling, because for a moment there, like, you know, she's not seeing Javi, she's not seeing Jpax, she's seeing Diana Prince, she's seeing Wonder Woman. And so for me, I remember I took it very seriously, and I complimented her on her bracers, and it was just so humbling. And I think that a lot of cosplayers don't really mind taking pictures, because really we put a lot of work into what we do. I've only ever said no to one picture, and it was because I was running late to a judging event, and sort of running through 70-degree weather, and I was like, "I'm so sorry, I'm late." And but really, I've never, other than that, I've never said no to a picture. Part of it is that I'm a huge ham, so I think that helps too. But for the most part, I'm excited that you're excited about the character that I'm doing. So if you see me at a convention, please don't hesitate to come up and say hi, ask for a picture. Like I mentioned, I'm just a huge nerd like you, and let's nerd out together.
What cosplays are you currently working on?
What am I currently working on? Well, currently I am working on my Captain Marvel movie helmet. You can see here it's made out of foam and pearl warbler, which is a smoother kind of warbler if you are familiar with it. What I have here is just the bare bones basic. Bones, it looks like a skull. So what I'll be doing is I'll be adding some detailing here. There's a sort of like a fin that comes out that kind of makes the hair kind of fan back. So hopefully I'll be done with this item by mid-February. That's my goal, is to have this helmet done by then, so that I can debut that version of Captain Marvel. I've cosplayed her many times already, starting with the comic book version, and this helmet that I have here is the comic book version of that helmet. Again, I started with a warbler base. In this case, this is a finished piece, so I covered the inside with duct tape to just sort of to make it a little bit gentler in my face, and again with the back opening, which made it really easy to kind of like slide on and off at conventions and events. Again, my hair is short and I have a pixie, so to do Captain Marvel I need a wig, and it's kind of hard to figure out how to use both a wig and a helmet, so I thought that this was a really great solution, was just to kind of keep the back of the helmet open. One of the reasons why I really, if it's a prop that I want to give longevity to, that I know is going to get used a lot, I prefer to use warbler on top of the foam, because it makes it a lot more durable. A lot of times I wear these costumes at children's events or at movie premieres or premiere parties in conjunction with local businesses such as Escape Velocity. Shout out to my peeps at Escape Velocity Comics in Colorado Springs. But props can be a really great way to invite people who are asking for pictures to feel a little bit more comfortable. A lot of times they just kind of don't know what to do or how to stand, and so I love using props like this as a way to bring people into the picture and to make them feel more comfortable. So having a prop that is durable, that you can drop and children can handle without breaking it, I think is it kind of gives me a little bit of peace of mind as a cosplayer, especially if it's something that I spend a really long time on. So yeah, that's my current project. I'll keep you posted. Hopefully by, like I said, mid-February I will have my movie version Captain Marvel helmet done. My favorite cosplay experience of this past year was I was doing an event in Colorado Springs. It was actually the Jpax soccer game, and I was Wonder Woman. And we'd already taken a lot of pictures, and we'd done the halftime show, so I was kind of walking around, and I was getting snow cones, and I kind of looked down to this area, and there was like this chain link fence, and there were just like a group, like a handful of kids just kind of like climbing it. And there was even like a sign on the fence that said like caution and some rocks and stuff. And in my real life, I'm a teacher, so I'm very used to, I have a very strong teacher voice. So when I saw these kids, I kind of just like put my hands on my hips and I said, is that safe? And they looked up the hill and they see Wonder Woman yelling at them, and they're just kind of like, scram! And so like they just like scattered. And I thought it was like the funniest thing, because these kids just like, again, they just sort of like look up a hill, the sun is setting, so the lighting is weird, and they just see Wonder Woman yelling at them for climbing up a fence. And my friend turned to me and she goes, I don't know if this is you being in character or if this is you using your teacher voice. And I was like, well, can it be both? So that's the time that I yelled at some children while dressed as Wonder Woman.